method of business would persist until the formation of the National Wrestling Alliance in 1948. The NWA as a central governing body, with its singular, undisputed world champion, would be absolute and undeniable. This control, combined with the expansion of the interstate highway system, and the inevitable popularity and availability of regional television, would usher in an era of wrestling that was defined by what would come to be known as the territory system. The territory system would dominate wrestling for nearly 4 decades. While the borders, authority, popularity, and obedience of individual NWA territories was in a near constant state of flux, to this day the impact and influence of these territories is still felt. Each territory had its own signature promoter and star. While it is impossible to cram these characteristics into a static, concrete map, we are damn sure going to try anyway.
So open up your eyes, way before it gets too late. Now one man, there's no way you can hit the street lights running, don't give a damn. A simple explanation that you'll never find. Sinners never sacrifice, we never leave love alone. Is hate really worth the price? Look at what we've done. Never cared for compromise, always threatening someone's life, and it feels like the end of the world.
All right, welcome back to episode 9 of This Week in Pro Wrestling with your host, Mike Monty and Jimmy Farrow. Jimmy, how are you, buddy?
Good, man, good. What's going on?
Great week in wrestling, my friend.
Oh,
you were very, very excited. I mean,
Yep.
it's really this whole program is going to be dedicated to All Out. But before we go to that,
What you got?
last night, Wednesday night,
Talk about last night.
MJF comes out and addresses his loss at All Out to Chris Jericho.
Well, he kind of lost, but go on. Yeah. I'm
He's
with
in
you.
Cincinnati. You know, he's doing a whole
That's
gimmick
not what.
attacking
That's not what he
Cincinnati.
called. That's not what he called it.
He called it Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Yeah.
A dumpster fire.
Yep, that's right. And he
Good
talks
stuff.
about the Cincinnati Reds not winning, blah, blah. Everybody knows the
Yeah,
story.
Lou
but
Piniella, 1990.
the
yeah.
interesting part is, after trashing the area, he points out Linda, the same mother of Brian Pillman.
Ooh, getting personal.
The daughter, the sister, right?
I kind of like
Pillman's
this. but-
sister, right?
Yeah, I kind of
And
like
then
this.
making fun of her about being pregnant, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know,
Wait a minute, Metheny?
no, Metheny. Well,
That was another thing.
so anyway,
He was flinging insults left and right.
well, that's what I meant. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Pillman comes out.
Man,
So I'm just going to start it there where I get a little aggravated, right?
aggravated?
Because the music comes on. It's like, look, someone's making fun of your sister.
Hit the
And
music.
they hit the music. And then you got to play to the crowd. Yeah, yeah.
So that messed up your suspension of disbelief?
It just, for some reason, and I think I'm not the only one, it seemed very out of place.
Fair enough.
Like, we're going to fight.
Fair.
You just said something about my sister. We're going to fight. But hold on. I want to...
Dude, I gotta
Play my
admit though,
music.
if like in real life, like you come across some jackass and your music hits, I'm ready to go. I'd be like, yeah, my music just hit. I'm gonna pound you into the pavement. That's awesome.
When did wrestling change from when guys used to just hit the ring because they were angry to now we play their music to alert everybody they're coming out because they're angry?
I don't know if you're gonna like the answer to
I
this.
have to hear it.
To me, like, when did it really change?
Yes.
Now, don't forget the era we grew up in.
Yeah.
There was no music,
Right.
okay, in the beginning when we first started
All right, so
watching.
wait, stop there 1 second. So here's my question.
Yeah.
Do you remember any time back in the day
Yeah.
that a wrestler came running out of the locker room to attack a guy in the ring? I'm even having a hard time, especially up here in the Northeast. I don't remember that happening.
For example, like when Sergeant Slaughter beat down Patterson, they all came charging out. There was no music.
That's right.
You know,
Danucci,
Danucci and the rest of the gang came out with the chairs and everything. So, no, there was no music. It's our boy,
Austin?
Hogan. There was a few times the music would hit and Hogan would come flying out. We'd hear the music.
You're right. You're right.
Oh, you! Come on. It started with the Hulkster. That's why there's that previous generation that were raised on Bruno and Spyro Sarion and Mascaris and the 70s guard. They hate Hogan for this. Hogan turned it into a circus.
So if they had the show, they'd be arguing about that, and we'd be like, "No way, it's great."
What are you talking about? He changed everything. So yes,
Right.
it's a hand-me-down. It's a repeat pattern. It goes on and on from generation to generation. The previous generation is mortified. The current generation is enthusiastic. It's the same old shit, bro.
Wow.
It kind
I didn't
of
think
is.
about it like that, though.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
So anyway, the older me's like, it seems a little out of place. Like, you know, and then he gets in the ring.
Yeah.
And, you know, MJF pulls up Wardlow.
Right. Goofy name.
If someone's
Go
making
on.
fun of your sister,
Yeah.
do you would Wardlow stop you from wanting to kick MJF's ass?
Are you serious? Wardlow would be like dead.
You'd be attacking him,
I'd
right?
be like, I don't give a crap how big you are.
Thank
I'm
you.
breaking every bone in your body. I'll start with your nose.
So that felt
know?
totally out of place.
Yeah. Are you talking about a relative? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. That's hilarious,
but-
by the way.
but-
you pointing this out.
But no.
Here I come to save the day. What?
But my mind gets changed.
Okay.
Because the lines that came out of MJF, like Methany Pillman, or the best part of you should have been swallowed, I was like, thank God he didn't attack Pillman.
Man.
I mean, thank God Pillman didn't attack him, right? I was like,
yeah.
thank God, because
Yeah.
this is
This-
great,
yeah.
great line.
Yeah, and this must be scripted because the guy would be dead. Pillman would have immortalized him. You know? I mean, his father whipped out a gun on Stone Cold. What, he's going to sit there and listen to this? Forget it. You think that's a gun? That's not a gun. This is a gun. What the hell? No doubt, man. No doubt. By the way, entertaining as hell. Glad to see Brian Pillman Jr. getting this exposure.
Thoughts on Pillman?
I love him.
Why?
I love him because I was partial to Pop, and when I see him, I see Pop, and I root for him to do everything that Pop got cut short on. I want to see a nice, long, full career.
Am I wrong to say that
I like him.
when I watch Pillman,
Yeah.
he's everything that's wrong with today's wrestling, in my opinion.
Boy, is he too small for you?
Not small.
Tremendous
no,
look.
I don't want to. He looks good.
He looks great.
Terrible on the mic.
I don't think he's terrible. That's rough. Give him a little time. I think he's fine so far, and it'll get better.
What makes someone fine? Like, what makes them fine on the mic?
I'm not cringing when I heard him speaking. I'm surprised you think he's that bad.
Did you cringe when Quick Draw and Rick McGraw was on the microphone?
I barely remember Quick Draw Rick
But
McGraw.
you do remember him being on the microphone?
He wasn't too...
How about when David Sammartino was on the microphone?
Yeah, that wasn't so good.
It was like,
That wasn't so good.
But it was like Pillman. It was like,
I don't know if it's like that. I think that there's a lot of potential in them. Their tights.
Really?
Working with him, absolutely. And he's going to have a big following too. You can tell people love him. He's got his following already. I'm rooting for him.
How about MJF?
I love MJF. MJF is just so great. I mean, to me, he's everything that's right about a heel. Everything.
Why?
Everything. Well, the mouth goes a million miles an hour and is always creative and is always shocking and is always cutting edge. He looks like an asshole. I mean, it helps when you look that way. He looks like a dick. I mean, my God, could you picture meeting him? You like golfing. Mm-hmm. Imagine running into a guy like MJF and he says the best part of you should have been swallowed. You would want to beat the shit out of this guy with your club. You know, he looks the part. He plays the part. He is the part. And apparently, when he's not on camera, he's the part. So I think he's great.
I think what I appreciate about him the most is they don't have him wrestle a lot.
Right.
He's always on the mic, insulting people, and you just want to get to him. Again,
That's the whole point of a heel.
But it's a little
You wanna
different,
kill
though.
them. Let it build.
Do you remember back in the day with Piper? Like I loved Piper, but there were points I wanted to kill the guy.
Right.
At no point do I ever feel like I want to kill MJF. I don't know why. I'm just I just find him funny.
You're not from Cincinnati.
Well, that's true.
I think all of Cincinnati wants to kill him. I don't blame him. That was horrible.
Do you really
mocking the Reds? How dare you?
Do you really?
Reds?
But do you think
How
they were
dare
really
you?
mad?
They're the oldest baseball team in the history of baseball, 1861. What are we talking about?
Here's
here?
something that AEW does better than the WWE. Yeah, I said it. They set
Nice.
those seeds.
Yeah.
Like the old days.
Yes, they do.
Like you got the Wardlow thing and him saying something and insulting Wardlow. But
Oh
then
my
Wardlow,
God, did he insult Wardlow?
But Wardlow's still going along,
For now.
taking care of business,
For
right?
now.
But it's good, you know.
Yeah.
So he's setting the seeds.
Yeah.
So Pillman signing, he's going to wrestle MJF in New York.
Very
Thoughts?
nice, Arthur Ashe Stadium. I'm very psyched that they booked that gig, by the way. Boy, would I love to show up at that thing. But, they might go, wait a minute, that's Monty and the Pharaoh, you WWE guys, get out of here!
Get out of here!
Yeah, that might be rough. What are you going to do?
Ruby Soho.
You mean Ruby Riot?
Ruby Riot.
Okay.
Ruby Soho. She
Cool-
makes it to
cool
the Battle
last name.
Royal.
Soho.
She wins.
Yeah.
And now
What a
she's the number
shock.
one. She's the number
So
one
surprised
contender.
she won. Totally, that's anticlimactic.
You knew she was going to
Oh,
win?
come on. Of course I knew she was going to win. The second she showed up in the thing, I'm like, she's winning.
So,
You know?
Pharaoh's opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got all these guys building AEW.
Yeah.
And now they have the rankings, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy's the number one contender, number two. They show it all the time.
Sure. Okay.
But Ruby Soho
yeah.
comes in.
Yeah.
She wins the Rumble, number one contender.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson comes in. Now he wants, Omega.
Sure.
And he's going to get the shot. Forget
Sure.
everybody else. Forget the rankings. You're number one.
Have no qualms with it.
CM Punk, you're right in the hunt.
Yeah. No qualms.
Why?
Superstars. You bring superstars. What were they going to have? Hulk Hogan, when he went to WCW, do the opening match?
No, but I mean, you presented it a certain way, and it's turning out a different way. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's wrong.
I think that they're
It's smart.
absolutely right to have brought them in the way they did and the way they presented them. Fantastic. Love it. Makes complete. These are former world champions, brother. They are.
That's it.
They're former world champions.
So,
Major stars.
what's the excuse for Ruby Soho?
That I'm not surprised with, because she was one of the top women wrestlers in WWE. She was. She had didn't she have a great program? Not a great program, but she had a program with Charlotte.
She did all right.
She did fine. I think she's a good get for the women's division in AEW. We've been saying they need some muscle.
Absolutely.
This is a good move.
I think so.
Bringing her in, it's going to get better now.
But let me ask you, this is
very
what-
interested
this
to see
is-
her and Dr. Britt Baker.
Explain something.
Who I love.
By the way, Britt Baker says to her yesterday,
awesome.
Destination. What's the name of her theme song? Destination Unknown.
Right.
She's like, your destination was in the lunchroom for like 4 years.
Yeah, you
or whatever.
spent 4 years in the cafeteria. Wow, that was rough.
Why, where
Good line.
fans didn't give a living shit about Ruby Riot
Right.
in the WWE, now are all big on Ruby Soho.
Probably because they feel that she'll get a better push. These are a lot of purists, these wrestling fans that are in AEW, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just explaining what they are. They're purists, and they dig the wrestling first. Everybody knows Ruby's a good wrestler. She's a good wrestler.
She's a good wrestler.
So you're going to see some good wrestling matches, and
You
that's
wouldn't
what
know
they
it
want.
by you wouldn't know it
Good for
by
them.
Wednesday
I
night's
agree.
match though. It's terrible.
No,
terrible.
Not for nothing. I didn't even enjoy the event that she won. I was like, what is this stupidity? I didn't think it was that good.
You didn't like the ending with
Nah, just-
Thunder Rosa.
The ending was fine, but the whole match itself was like, whatever.
We were talking earlier before we came on, and we were talking about the women's division. And again, I'm not trying to be pro WWE against AEW, but the women's division in the WWE is
Much
like
better.
but
Of
it's
course.
like light years
It is.
better,
Yeah.
scary light years.
That's a fact.
As much as I love Britt Baker,
I mean, with
Britt Baker would
Charlotte
not
and
do well in the
Becky, and of
WWE.
course, Sasha, unless there's something going on with Sasha about, we're
Right.
not sure yet about these things.
well, let me ask you that. You brought that up. You
I
said
had
that there's a-
actually read somewhere that Sasha was pregnant. I'm like, oh my dear Lord. I wasn't going to ask how that happened because I think I know how.
Right.
But I think. But what a loss that would be, huh?
that would be terrible.
That would be a huge, huge loss right now. What's with all of them getting pregnant anyway? Becky was like the biggest star in the business. Oops.
Well, no,
I
I think
would you
that's-
guys all stop getting pregnant?
I legitimately think that's a major problem.
Yeah, I think it'll be if Sasha's out.
It's interesting,
That hurts the division.
not to be sexist or anything like that, but it could be a good point that maybe women's wrestling wasn't held at a higher level back in the days. I understand the women are much more attractive and they're better athletes. I get it. But you have a lot more to lose. You build a star like Becky Lynch, she gets pregnant on you. It's like, oh, crap. If you're right and Sasha Banks is pregnant,
Right.
You just lost someone for a year and a half.
But when are they supposed to have their children? When they're older?
But this goes to my point.
Go
Is maybe
for it
that's
if
why
now's
they
the
didn't.
time,
That's
do
why
it.
they didn't push women.
I don't know.
Because a man
I
gets
mean,
a woman.
not for nothing. If I was Vince McMahon, I would be like, to be very honest, I'd be going to Seth, what's the matter with your aim? You got Becky pregnant. What's wrong with your aim, you idiot?
Don't think that didn't take place.
I mean, it takes two to tango, It's got... It might have
I just think
you're right. I can see him yelling at Seth.
you can destroy somebody. All right, well, let's talk about probably the most important match of the night. Is what everybody was looking for, right?
What's that? CM Punk?
CM Punk,
Yeah.
against Darby Allin.
Good stuff. Man.
Thoughts?
Good. I loved it. A very, very, very enjoyable, re-debut of CM Punk after all these years. I'll tell you, his opponent really makes out quite well in all of this. Darby's looking good. They both did well. I mean, it was the proper finish. The match was exciting. Darby pulled his weight. I think you said to me at one point Darby was actually doing everything he could to lighten Punk's load. I feel that they both did a great job with each other.
I actually have a lot of respect for Darby Allin.
You should. He's a tough kid.
I thought he
man.
was actually carrying CM Punk at some point. And what I mean carrying is he was making sure that CM Punk was able to finish the moves that without issue.
The pacings were good. You know what I really liked? The way Darby was staring him down when Punk came into the ring. I thought that he did a great job there. During all of Punk's fanfare and greeting the fans and everything like that, there's Darby. He just won't take his eyes off him. So I thought that was a good job on Darby's part to play that role.
Here's what I have a problem and I don't understand. And look, you're an old school fan, but a new school fan. You're a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If you are my age or your age, I still don't understand how when we were speaking earlier in the week offline, I discussed how boxing, right? There's great middleweights, there's great lightweights, there's even great featherweights. But but when you want to really watch something that keeps and piques most people's interest,
it's the Alis and the Tysons.
Is the heavyweights. Yeah,
of course.
And as a wrestling fan, I can't get past. As good as that match was,
guys. Right?
It's still like you're watching. I don't want to say children because that's not fair.
No, but you're watching smaller guys.
But Darby Allin, by the way, is ridiculously small. Okay,
he is.
Punk is average man, build, maybe a little bigger.
I think he's a little bigger. Average guy.
Okay, good enough. But Darby Allin is smaller than the average man.
He's small,
and that. I agree. I don't like. I can't get past it.
To be fair to you, it's supposed to be a physical contest. So yeah, it's hard for you to see a skinny guy because to you, Darby Allin is a skinny, 170-pound guy, and when you're your size, it makes total sense that you would think that because he is. He's a 170-pound skinny guy. So yeah, being raised on the days of when Hulk Hogan was in the ring with a. Andre the Giant or a Killer Khan was in the ring with Bob Backlund, you had 240 versus 280. It's a big difference between that and 170 versus 190. So I get it. I completely understand that.
And let's not forget that Piper was probably 200, 190.
I think Piper was a good 220, 230 back in the days.
I've heard different weights. But the matter, even Savage in earlier days, he could have been 190, 200,
These guys
210.
always felt like heavyweights.
Thank you. They looked like heavyweights.
But this, to me, is where we do differ. Punk, to me, feels like a heavyweight. He always has. Daniel Bryan, to me, feels like a heavyweight. He doesn't feel like a cruiserweight. I don't look at Daniel Bryan and go, oh, he's a little guy. He might be short compared to what Vince McMahon usually likes to look at, but I don't think he's a small guy. I wouldn't want to wrestle him. He'd probably twist me into bookends.
Sure, that's understandable.
Okay? I mean, Daniel Bryan is probably closer to a Bob Backlund type. Yes, Bob's a little beefier, okay? But he's somewhere in that vicinity. You know what I mean? I look at wrestlers on their vibe also. Like Jungle Boy. Remember when I got all upset when Jungle Boy came out? I could see him being 190. They announced him at 168. What the fuck you doing?
Right.
You just killed the whole illusion, you idiot. So no, I don't want to really hear their real weight. It's okay. Tell me a white lie.
Gotcha.
Tell me one. It's okay. It's wrestling. The whole thing's
You'd rather go.
suspended
You'd rather
disbelief.
go. I don't
So-
believe he's 190 than hear that he's 168.
Absolutely.
Right? Like I don't believe that guy's 190, but at least he was announced at 190.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, they used to do. Andre the Giant, 7'5". This guy wasn't 7'5".
How many times did you hear the Big Show announced at 500 pounds? I don't think he's ever been 500
No,
pounds.
yeah, come on. I mean, yeah.
Now they got him announced at 400, so what does that mean, 370?
Yeah. You're
what
right.
are we saying
You're
here?
right.
You
You're
know what I
right.
mean? By the way, I got to get this in real fast because I just got to. I marked out like a maniac when Suzuki showed up. I'm a New Japan guy. So when I saw Minoru Suzuki come into the ring and standing across from Moxley, who's clearly the badass of the company, clearly, you had two of the baddest men on the planet, just ferocious. How'd you like that Gotch pile driver, by the way? When's the last time you seen one of them?
No, it was good.
How good was that? He dumped them right on his noggin. That was brutal. Loved it. Loved it.
I've gotta tell you, I from what I understand, Tony Khan is one of the agents also, and he does his own booking and writing for some of the
It was
wrestlers.
a nice grab getting Suzuki
He does.
that night.
He does some interesting writing.
Yeah,
But-
for sure.
You know,
I'm liking it.
the hard part, again, the whole thing now is that everybody's going with the whole idea that the WWE is going for the kids, and this is the way it is, and blah blah blah. But again, when I watch both organizations, I go, this one's the big leagues.
Of course,
And
I
this
understand
one
what you're
is
saying.
not the big leagues. Even though people feel like bullcrap, the AEW is making the move. They don't feel like they have the best of the best.
Well, I tell you what, this pay-per-view made me feel like they have the best of the best, and that was the intent of the pay-per-view, to make you feel that way. They could come by on the next night with the regular show, and it won't be anywhere near that. But that's okay. They did their job on that pay-per-view.
Well written. They gave the fans. See, that's where the WWE, I think, has lost a little of their flavor. Mm-hmm. Whenever you bought a pay-per-view back in the day, there was always some super ending.
Yeah.
Whether it was the match itself or
Right.
some kind of run-in or something.
Yeah, we're not
And
seeing that.
no matter how bad, everything could have been from A to Y. Mm-hmm. As long as Z was hot, you thought it was a great pay-per-view. You came out happy.
How about matches that were just like with the holy shit factor, like the TLC matches back in the day?
Sure.
We just had a tag team match that night that was unbelievable. And I'm the first one to say it. That was my favorite match of the night. Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. That was insane. What a great match. Yes, flying all over the place. Oh, come on, give me a break. I can see all of that stuff. That match was off the charts. And I saw, in my opinion, and how many years have we been watching wrestling, the flying body press by Phoenix.
Yes.
Off the top
Unbelievable.
of the steel cage.
Unbelievable.
Was the most beautiful, perfectly placed. I've never seen one that good. I thought that was absolutely incredible.
Did he finish him? Did he finish him with that move?
Of course not.
That is why I asked the question. Top of the
That-
cage,
that should be
flying
worth it.
body press,
Everybody should be
and
dead.
it still
Everybody
wasn't
should-
enough.
Welcome to today's wrestling.
And by the way,
what a great match!
the Young
though.
Bucks,
Oh my
the
God!
Young Bucks to
great
me,
bad guys.
and they also play very big to me.
They play.
They
huge.
play very big
Dude,
to
how
me.
great are they as villains?
Excellent.
Boy, were they hated.
Excellent.
Do you hear the heat on them? But are we going to get to the big finale of this pay-per-view?
Go ahead.
What about, this is what really got me going. Towards the end, of course, when the lights went out, I thought to myself, well, I guess here comes Daniel Bryan after Omega says, by the way, that was a great line by Omega. No one can beat me. Anybody who could beat me is either retired or dead. And the fans were like, what the fuck kind of comment was that? Boo! Lights go out, and I'm thinking, Daniel Bryan. It's not Daniel Bryan. Who's ready for story time with Adam Cole, baby? I lost my mind. You know Adam Cole's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
You know that, right? There's another guy who's smaller who plays huge. Who's ready for story time with Adam Cole, baby? What did you think when you saw Adam Cole? Were you like, oh, there goes another one? This is a guy who was never even called up to the main roster.
So-
Mistake.
Well, I'm gonna explain something to you in a minute.
Make it
I'm gonna hit
good.
you with this. But
Baby.
we used to speak about Adam Cole, and I always felt that Adam Cole should stay in NXT. Or AEW is a very good place for him, right? Because
perfect.
Adam Cole is a smaller wrestler who can make his move. Look, Kenny Omega is not small, but he's not
You're finally
big.
starting to see that, huh?
But he's not big.
not huge.
He
He's
is
good shape.
perfect size
Good shape.
that a guy like Adam Cole could wrestle him.
Sure.
And it's believable.
Sure, you got 220 versus 190.
Thank you.
It works for me.
Right. That works for everything.
works
it
for
keeps
me.
everything at a level
Now,
playing
wait till
field.
those two get in the ring
Remember something.
together.
If Adam Cole had come to the main
Eventually.
roster,
Yeah.
and I'm about to commit blasphemy
Well,
because
you
I'm
gonna
going
have
to go
him
to
stand in front of
agreement.
Brock Lesnar?
No, but I'm saying if you
Come
put him
on.
in front of Lesnar or
Lashley.
it's not believable.
No, it's
So
gonna be rough.
here's
I
interesting.
understand.
Just reported, Dave Meltzer just reported,
Oy.
Adam Cole
What does he want?
made his final decision was because of this.
Oh.
It was presented to him
Yeah.
that he would be
Heel
the
manager.
He would be the heel manager
heard
for
about that.
Keith Lee.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And on top of that, he would have to change his name because they did not want two Coles on the roster. So here, to my point is,
Hold on. I got something for you. Hold on. This is my answer to Vince on that one. You wanted to make Adam Cole a fucking manager. Get the fuck out of here.
so on my end, it was actually Bruce
manager.
Pritchard and McMahon, Vince McMahon.
This is where you get the job.
Cole-
I get fired.
Cole
Fired.
is a great mouthpiece,
Yeah, he is. He's also a great
and he's
wrestler.
small,
Yeah.
and he could wrestle, which could help.
Yeah.
So I'm not so sure that if I was working for them at that time and they said, we got to bring him up. Because we had explained if they had brought him up, they had to bring him up with a faction.
Yeah, bring him up as a
Protect him.
manager. You know who's really hurt by this decision?
Who's that?
Keith Lee. Because it would have been the greatest thing that ever happened to Keith Lee.
Absolutely.
To have Adam Cole manage him.
Absolutely.
But you know what, though? When Adam Cole's wearing the AEW strap one day, I don't think he's going to be too concerned about the fact that he could have been the mouthpiece for Keith Lee when he's still in his prime. How revolting. You did the right thing, Adam Cole, baby. How about the other big surprise that night?
Go ahead.
The other big surprise. As the bad guys are basically, proclaiming their dominance, and they're beating, I couldn't believe this is happening, they're beating on your favorite. Luchasaurus is getting beat up.
They're all getting beat up.
I'm like, yeah, but Luchasaurus, Monty's favorite. I'm like, this is not cool. They're beating up Monty's favorite. Lights go out again. Up, what's this? By the way, I also love the fact that they couldn't do a damn thing about his music because his music is classical. That's public domain. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my God, here he is, Bryan Danielson. Well, we might as well start calling him that.
Well,
That's his real name.
I will say
the American Dragon.
Bryan Danielson,
Looked great.
it was the best move for him.
jacked.
It was a good move for AEW.
Yeah,
And it was a good move for the WWE.
yeah,
There was nowhere to go anymore, Bryan Danielson. They ran his gamut with him.
yeah.
What else could you in these cases, it's good to let people go. In
I
Adam
don't think it
Cole's
was
case,
smart.
it's good to let people.
I don't
you
think
don't
it was
keep
smart.
people. You don't keep people to keep them away from another organization.
Well, you don't do
because he's
that.
not going to make you money.
But if you
Bryan Danielson was not going to make the WWE money. Okay, they've run their
the
gamut.
shirt stopped selling?
It's
Are you serious?
You're talking about they're trying to build future superstars, right? You've done your could they have kept Adam Cole? Yes. Was the WWE the right place for him? No.
Well, apparently not. Let's take your boots off and make you a manager, even though you're in your prime.
Dude,
And the place is going to go ballistic over on the other side of the
you
pond
would
when
have
they see you.
even as much of an
stupid.
Adam Cole fan
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
If you would have saw him taking his boots to Brock Lesnar, you would have been like, man, this just isn't good.
Well, you know what? How I would have bought it? If Cole, O'Reilly, Fish,
Yes.
are all putting their boots to Brock Lesnar,
Yes.
and then Cole finagles the title away from Brock Lesnar due to a massive interference.
You have consistent interference from the faction.
and
Yes.
builds up the
Yes,
hatred.
I
of all the-
agree.
See, you could have done that with Adam Cole. Adam Cole's that great.
You could have. You needed a faction with him. I agree. Or you had to make him a manager. So you know what?
Can't make him a manager.
In the end, he's where he belongs.
He is where he belongs. I agree with that. I do think that Daniel Bryan would have been a never-ending WWE gimmick. They could have always found something else. Even recently, the hemp belt.
That's
that
not
was
that
awesome.
recent. It was great, but it wasn't that
This went in
recent.
the last year.
A couple of years, right? It's been
I
a
don't know
couple
about
of years.
a couple of years, but either way, I still feel like there
Listen,
was.
Bryan Danielson has done all he could there. He's one of the all-time greats.
He is.
That's a guy who came from nowhere and made something of himself. And guess what? He's going to do great in AEW, and you're right. AEW's got to use these guys they're signing them because you're running out of time. You're not getting. How many years are you getting out of Punk? How many years are you going to get out of Danielson?
Absolutely.
You're not getting a lot of years out of these guys. So make it work now for you.
How many years are you going to get out of Miro?
You're not a big Miro guy, huh?
I think it's a joke.
Now, why would Miro be a joke? They've made him into a monster.
Yeah.
They made him to what everything the fans wanted.
I don't really. I got to be honest. I thought that Rusev fighting against Cena, that long program they
Great
had,
program.
like when he came out with the tank and everything.
Great program.
I liked Rusev way more than Miro. Sorry.
Understood.
I don't care if I'm in the minority with this, especially with the AEW, fans. That's fine. There's no
All
problem
right,
there.
we're out of time. Was this the greatest
out of time.
pay-per-view ever?
No. I would have to sit and think about that one, but this was a great pay-per-view. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I give it an A. I do. I thought it was a great pay-per-view. Is it the greatest? That's silly. Well, what? I'd have to sit down and really think about all the pay-per-views over all the years. You're not going to tell me that this topped WrestleMania 17. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, my final
Rock
decision
versus
on
Austin?
it, I'm not
Stop
an
it.
AEW guy, but I got to tell you, they did a fantastic job.
Amazing.
Start to finish,
Yeah.
gave you everything you wanted out of a pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
And I got to tell you, for the fan that doesn't like the WWE, this is a great
Wet
alternative.
dream.
And you know what? You said it to me before.
Yeah.
Enjoy both of them.
Absolutely,
You don't
that's
have
what
to
I'm
hate
doing.
on them.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, an old school wrestler fan, I want my guys to look like they kill you. I don't want ordinary guys.
I get it.
But I understand
I
the
get
fact
it.
that these guys do some wonderful shows out there.
You think Vince will still take us out to dinner after I got all mad about the manager
No,
thing?
you've
come
cost
on.
us
Vince,
a-
I was just kidding, Vince.
Everybody,
Maybe I
enjoy
was.
SmackDown,
Maybe I
enjoy the
wasn't.
WWE, enjoy the Bloodline. This has been Mike Monty.
This has been the Pharaoh, and until next week when we hit double digits.
Yes, baby.
Later.